Hello, 22 Tony here, with my latest in my series of videos on collecting vintage and antique ammo. Today I actually want to throw a little bit of a twist into my discussion, because today we're not going to be talking about vintage and antique ammo. Today we're going to be discussing some 21st century cartridges. Well, today's discussion started last week on a trip to my favorite shooting range. I was at the Pennsylvania Game Lands near Dillsburg, Pennsylvania at the shooting range. And I got there early. I was the only one there when I first arrived. So it gave me a chance to kind of poke around a little bit and see what I could find laying around. Well, as I was looking around, I did find, the typical brass and metal casings, and I saw rimfire and centerfire, but the typical calibers of 22s and 9mm. There certainly were some rifle cartridges, and even though it prohibits shotguns there were plenty of shotgun shells lying around as well. But then I did find a few things that I found to be a little bit interesting. Now, the first is not going to be anything particularly special. I'm sure you're all familiar with the 17 HMR. It's actually called the 17 Hornady Magnum Rimfire, but commonly we're familiar with it as the 17 HMR. Now, this cartridge has been around since about 2002, so it's a new cartridge. It's only been around for 15 years, but we're all still very familiar with it. Now, what some of you may not be aware of or may not have had a chance to see side by side, this is a 22 Magnum. And as you can see, the casing itself is the same. The 22 Magnum cartridge was necked down to 17 caliber to give us the 17 HMR. So again, it's not a particularly uncommon cartridge. It's very widely available, and I'm sure most of you are very familiar with it. I just wanted to show it next to the 22 Magnum so you could actually see them side by side. The 17 HMR was designed as a flatter trajectory and a faster projectile than the 22 Magnum, or actually any 22 rimfire available. And that's its claim to fame, the speed and flat trajectory. Now, the other one, though, is much more interesting to me. This centerfire cartridge I found, again, on the range. It was just laying on the ground, and when I first saw it, I recognized this was something that I'm not familiar with. It's not something I see every day. And at first glance, I thought it might be a 223 Winchester Short Magnum. Now, the WSM series are cartridges that I am aware of. I'm familiar with them. I haven't seen very many of them. So when I saw this on the ground, that was the first thing that came to my mind. But it turns out that I was wrong. This is actually a 6.5 Grendel. And it is clearly marked, so it made it easy for me to identify it. But most of you probably have never heard of a 6.5 Grendel. Well, this is a cartridge that was produced specifically for the AR-15. The designers were looking for a low recoil cartridge that was still accurate up to 800 yards. So this cartridge actually dates its, I guess its ancestry back to 1943 Russia. But this particular version of it wasn't really, the concept was around for a while, but this actual development on this cartridge wasn't really started till around 2002, and first became commercially available in 2007. Now, as those of you that have seen my other videos know, my videos are not the answer. They're supposed to be the question. So I could go on the internet and I could print up a little report and I could read to you the details of the history of this cartridge, and it would be very interesting and you'd probably enjoy it. But I find that I get more enjoyment over doing the research myself. So that's why I'm not going to give you a whole lot more detail about this. In fact, I'm not going to give you any more detail. I want you to go and look it up for yourself and see what you can find out. Again, it's very interesting history. It does date back to World War II Russia, and it gives you a little bit of reading. It's not real difficult to find some information on it, but it's not a real common cartridge. It's not something that you're going to see in your local sporting goods store, not very likely. and just surprised me that at my little shooting range near Dillsburg, Pennsylvania, somebody actually has an AR-15 chambered for 6.5 Grendel. Well, I hope you enjoyed my discussion today, and I hope it gave you something to think about. Those of you that are cartridge collectors, this is going to give you a cartridge to go out and find for yourself. I've got mine. I'm not giving it away, even though it is clearly a misfire. That's sure why it was there. Please watch my other videos, share them, and I hope you enjoy them, and I hope you subscribe, and let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Bye.